Episode 167, Soul Land Original Novel DouLuo DaLu. Chapter 200. Reunion, Shrek 7 Devils. TL Bio WL404. Dai Mubai's hearing was very good, and with a shift of his feet he was already in front of Ma Hongzhen. Looking at the delicate and pretty Bai Chenxiang next to him, he said in disbelief, "Fatty, your eyes are pretty good." From where, at this point, his mouth had already been covered by Ma Hongzhen and he was dragged aside violently. Seeing the imploring light in Fatty's eyes, Dai Mubai couldn't help getting more doubtful. He was originally going to say his eyes were good and ask from which place had he brought this girl here. With Ma Hongzhen's understanding of him, how could he let him to speak out about this? Oscar and Ning Rongrong were snickering aside, and Ning Rongrong was explaining the relationship between Fatty and Bai Chengxiang to Zhu Zuking in a whisper. Ma Hongzhen compressed his voice into a thread anxiously, and said to Dai Mubai, "Boss Dai, show mercy with your words. Your brother is serious this time. This girl is third brother's cousin. She and me are pure in mind and body. I'm wooing her. By no means divulge what I did before, or I will be finished." How clever was Dai Mubai, he realized immediately, giving Ma Hongzhen a knowing look and saying with laugh, "I was saying where does such a pretty girl come from, and it's exactly little San's cousin. Nice to meet you, I'm Dai Mubai." Dai Mubai's appearance was not very handsome, but his innate evil eyes and temperament endowed him with a special charm, otherwise he couldn't have wantonly wallowed among flowers without facing a single defeat back then. The intangible imposing manner his body radiated very easily gave people pressure. Facing him, Bai Chenxiang wasn't that casual, but said in somewhat a reserved manner, "Nice to meet you brother Dai, my name is Bai Chengxiang. You can call me Xiang Xiang." Ma Hongzhen suddenly gave a weird shriek, "Xiang Xiang, you're seeing him for the first time and you allow him to call you Xiang Xiang?" Bai Chengxiang cast her eyes heavenward, saying, "Brother Dai is my cousin's older brother, is there anything wrong?" Ma Hongzhen said sulkily, "Then how about me? Why don't you allow me to use it?" Bai Chengxiang hummed, "Because you are vulgar. That fat as well as a face of lust. Who would speak to you? Brother Dai shows he is a gentleman at a glance. How can he be the same as you?" "Him? Gentleman?" Ma Hongzhen looked wide-eyed at Bai Chengxiang, and then at Dai Mubai next to him. Suddenly he couldn't help but feel bitter in his mind. Nevertheless he couldn't say anything. Who asked him to have a criminal record from before? Now he couldn't offend anyone anymore. Dai Mubai's mood was diametrically opposite of Ma Hongzhen's, saying with a laugh, "Worthy of being little San's cousin. You really can talk. Xiang Xiang, you are not wrong. Among us, the most honorable gentleman is exactly me." Cough cough, Oscar who was coughing not far away, looked at Dai Mubai with a weird expression, very weird. Zhu Zuking stood next to Ning Rongrong with a smile, without a single notion of unmasking her man. So many years had gone by, and Dai Mubai was not that Dai Mubai who was young and flighty. She wasn't that girl who had always felt some resentment and dissatisfaction towards Dai Mubai either. Dai Mubai seemed not to care about others' eyes being on him at all, saying, "Where is little San? Wasn't it said we'd go to see God Island?" Ma Hongzhen said, "Third brother had gone out for several days. It seemed to be some family matters. I expect he'll return soon." Mentioning Tang San, the smile on Dai Mubai's face faded gradually. "Just what is going on with Xiao Wu? Grandmaster mentioned this in the letter, but I still can't believe why a proper human would separate her body and soul." Hearing Dai Mubai mention this, a strong killing aura suddenly appeared in Ma Hongzhen's eyes, his temperament making a world-shaking change. It was the first time Bai Chenxiang felt something like it from Ma Hongzhen. She suddenly felt that the fatty next to her was becoming dreadful. Especially the pressure from the King of 100 Birds Phoenix spirit, even made her mind tremble, and move aside for half-step subconsciously. Now in her eyes, this fatty seemed to have become a lot taller, and wasn't that laughing and vulgar guy anymore. "Wasn't it those bastards of Spirit Hall?" Ma Hongzhen said fiercely. Without any need to exaggerate, narrating the truth completely according to the facts was enough to fill the space in front of the cabin with austerity. Zhu Zuking's eyes were even hazy with tears, and only gradually calmed down after being comforted by Ning Rongrong. "Spirit Hall. Dai Mubai roared deeply, immense imposing manner exploding abruptly. The Shrek 7 devils were already accustomed to him releasing his manner like this, and everyone's strength was very close, so their reactions were not intense. But Bai Chenxiang could stand the pressure of White Tiger that had exploded drastically so close. her face losing color as she retreated, staggering. Just the moment when she was to fall down, a stable and thick big hand grabbed her shoulder, a thread of spirit power with a somewhat scorching hot feeling penetrated into her body. Bai Chenxiang's breath was stabilized suddenly, as if an intangible wall made of raging flames materialized before her body, blocking out the surging momentum of Dai Bai for her. It's no use being angry. If you want to fight against Spirit Hall, you need to constantly improve your strength. Only when all of you seven have become a generation of title DouLuo, can it be possible to fight against powers of Spirit Hall. At a calm voice coming far from outside, everyone looked towards the direction of the voice, seeing two men walking over in their direction. The one who was talking, was Grand Master. By his side, was Sword DouLuo Chen Xin with only one arm left. Grand Master. Seeing Grand Master, the Shrek Seven Devils as well as Bai Chenxiang, bowed simultaneously in salute. Grand Master nodded slightly to Dai Bai and Zhu Zuqing, nothing showing on his stiff face. You have learned about what happened to Little San and Xiao Wu. We can call Spirit Hall our common enemy. Over the years, each of you has improved to a different extent, and also gotten more powerful spirit abilities. Before going to see God Island, I hope you can complete a run-in process. You have after all parted for so many years, even if your cooperation is still there, if you don't know each other's new abilities, you will be unable to cooperate to the greatest possible extent. Everyone nodded simultaneously. To Grand Master's instruction, they had been always sincerely convinced. Grand Master's gaze swept over everyone from one to another, then said, the run-in period starts from now on. Even though Little San and Xiao Wu aren't here, you five have gathered. In order to run in well with the fastest speed, you need pressure. Ma Hongjun said with some stammering, Grand Master, you're not planning on letting Senior Chen Xin be our pressure. He knew profoundly, Sword DouLuo Chen Xin was actually a rank 97 peak power. That wasn't something even ordinary title DouLuo could easily match up to. Especially when Sword DouLuo Chen Xin also had the title of the continent's #1 attack DouLuo. They had all seen Yang Wudi's attack power, against which even Tang San would get the worst of it. Yang Wudi was merely more than rank 80, while the Sword DouLuo who was similarly famous for attack actually had the mighty of rank 97. The pressure was really a bit big. Bai Chenxiang shot a somewhat scornful glance at Fatty, thinking inwardly, so fearful? It's just in order to train you, not a real enemy. The bit of good impression Fatty helping blocking the pressure for her put forth was dispelled by sheer force by this chance. She didn't want to believe she would have any feelings towards such a vulgar Fatty. Grand Master's expression grew chill, you should feel lucky. Being able to invite Senior Sword DouLuo to be the pressure of your run-in, can not only enormously accelerate the process, but may also stimulate the growth of your strength one step further, helping you to find where your strength is insufficient. Ning Rongrong giggled, Grandpa Sword, you have to start off leniently. Sword DouLuo's face turned serious, I'm your opponent now, Rongrong, I won't be lenient. Moreover, Oscar, you should remember, if you can't protect Rongrong well, then I won't let her go with you to see God Island. Didn't you say you would have the ability to protect Rongrong after coming back? Today I'm here to inspect it. I hope you weren't just talking big. Hearing Sword DouLuo's word, the Shrek Five Devils' complexions became grave immediately. They could sense deeply, Sword DouLuo wasn't joking, especially to Oscar, on whose face the laughing expression disappeared immediately, a kind of special deep imposing manner spreading out, without saying a word, just nodding towards Sword DouLuo silently. Grand Master said to Bai Chenxiang, you don't need to join in run-in, come over to me. Bai Chenxiang replied, somewhat disapproving, walking over and standing next to Grand Master. In her heart she felt a bit resentful, wasn't it said I would go gain experience together with them? Then why not let me join in the running in now? Even if my strength is lacking compared to them, it still isn't that much. No matter what, I'm a four-ring spirit ancestor, so they look down upon me like that? With my speed, it shouldn't be a problem for me to protect myself. While she thought inwardly, Sword DouLuo Chen Xin was already slowly walking forward, while Shrek Five Devils subconsciously moved back, and very naturally, Ning Rongrong and Oscar were behind, Dai Bai was in the middle front, Ma Hongjun and Zhu Zuqing on either side. Each of their faces appeared very serious. Bai Chenxiang also noticed the difference. She discovered that the moment Sword DouLuo stepped ahead for the first pace, the temperament of his whole being changed dramatically. What looked like a very normal old man before, now everything around him seemed to become sharp, even the air grew a bit distorted. Just feeling a trace of sharp sense in this aura, she couldn't help turning pale. Only now did she understand how wrong she was, and why Grandmaster didn't let her join the running in before her eyes. Standing behind Sword DouLuo, that sharp sense seemed to tear her body to pieces, so it could be imagined how terrible the feeling was to stand before him. No matter how fast her speed was, she was afraid that she would only have the destiny of being cut apart by that sharp aura. In her heart, Bai Chenxiang had always been somewhat proud. She thought, relying on the speed of the Speed clan, in the world, no one could hurt her. Only now when she felt the sense radiated by Sword DouLuo did she realize the gap between Speed clan and real powers. Let alone her, even if her grandfather was here, unfortunately, he couldn't withstand that fierce and formidable sharp sense. But the five before Sword DouLuo were all confronting Sword DouLuo without retreating, and that, to her eyes, vulgar fatty even stood on the first line, faint light starting to shine from everyone. Grandmaster let Bai Chenxiang move backward fast, to a comparatively more distant place, thoroughly getting away from the scope of Sword DouLuo's aura, and then watched the battlefield. White light flashing brilliantly, rather than retreating, Daimyo Bai advanced, brazenly taking a step forward. With a huge roar, his body rendered by the intense white light suddenly changed drastically, a huge phantom of a vicious white tiger emerged behind his back. His body swelling fiercely, powerful muscle popping and breaking open the clothes, with both black and white lines appearing simultaneously on the muscles, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, black, 6 spirit rings appeared on his body simultaneously. Suddenly, his momentum rose up vigorously. Evil Eye's white tiger's forceful aura immediately made his companion's burden decrease by a large margin. Grandmaster made a soft sound of surprise, good. Didn't expect his spirit power had grown again, it should be rank 65. Bai Chenxiang suddenly felt her heart seem to skip a beat. Although her age was a little less than the Shrek 7 Devils, it was by very little. Compared with the youngest one in Shrek 7 Devils, Zhu Zuqing, she was just a year younger than her. Even Daimyo Bai before her eyes was 3 or 4 years older than her, she knew, the strength of rank 65 couldn't be reached by her in 3 or 4 years. With Daimyo Bai releasing his spirit, dazzling splendor also blossomed on the other 4. There was respectively a faint phantom emerging behind each one's back. The one behind Zhu Zuqing was a black cat, whose cold and concise aura was much more skillful than Daimyo Bai. But the spirit rings on her body was the same as Daimyo Bai's, giving a mysterious and dangerous feeling. Ma Hongjun's spirit was much more rampant, a scarlet phantom of a phoenix emerging behind his back. His spirit rings were one fewer than others, but the momentum was not a bit the worse. Scorching hot phoenix flame rose up to the sky, revolving around his body, blossoming with dazzling splendor. The phantom behind Ning Rongrong's back was exactly the same as one in her hand, the splendid 9 treasures glazed tile supported by her right hand, 6 spirit rings sparkling respectively, bright gem light setting her off as refined like an immortal. The phantom behind Oscar was the strangest one, 2 blurry silver silhouettes, seeming to connect with each other tightly. 5 people, 4 spirit emperors and 1 spirit king, and they were so young. Bai Chenxiang already held her breath subconsciously, looking at the battle that was on the verge of unfolding. At the same moment, a sudden clear voice came, "Wait a minute." Silhouettes flickering, there appeared 2 people in the ground. Both of them wore white clothes. The man held the woman's hand, with a slight smile on his face. "With Senior Sword DouLuo instructing us, how could I be absent?" The people who came weren't strangers, but exactly Tang San and Xiao Wu. Pale blue light filled the air around Tang San and Xiao Wu's bodies. He softly gathered up Xiao Wu, with some reluctance in his eyes, he placed her in his wishful 100 treasure purse. The moment Tang San appeared, the originally grave expressions of the Shrek 5 devils all relaxed a bit, each person simultaneously showing a slight smile. If they were called 5 young powers, then, with the joining of Tang San, they became a very powerful integral entity. Daimyo Bai laughed, "Little San, your timing is perfect. We're seeking advice from Senior Sword DouLuo together." Tang San nodded. With his intelligence, seeing Grandmaster not far from them, he had already guessed that Sword DouLuo was invited to instruct them. In terms of Sword DouLuo's strength, it would be absolutely possible to bring them formidable pressure. Tang San's presence didn't make Sword DouLuo Chen Xin's face change for a single bit, letting him rejoin the unit, stand behind Daimyo Bai and transform the original 3-2 arranged formation into 3-1-2. Then he said calmly, "I will begin." A sharp refined light flashed across Sword DouLuo's eyes abruptly, and the next moment, there was already a sword before his body, a clear blue long sword, as if carved out of crystal. The most strange thing was that, on the long sword, there were 9 stars, which were in yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black colors. Seeing the sword, the Shrek 6 devils couldn't help looking at each other in alarm. To be able to separate the original appearance of spirit rings and infuse them into the spirit, it showed how deep the Sword DouLuo's cultivation was. Chen Xin raised his hand slowly, his gaze didn't go to Shrek 6 devils but totally fell over on his own sword. Sword length 4 chi 3 kun wide. Hilt length 1 chi and 2 kun. Named, 7 kill 1 dot. The instant Sword DouLuo Chen Xin was going to grasp this 7 kill sword, light burst from Tang San's eyes, shouting aloud, "Power attack!" Meanwhile, 1 white and 1 blue, 2 layers of lights exploded out from within his body simultaneously, covering the whole ground at once. Chilling, ruthless death god domain and mild and full of vitality with intense spiritual fluctuation blue-silver domain blossomed simultaneously, covering the companions on his side, and also covering the Sword DouLuo. Tang San was the core of Shrek 7 devils, and everyone trusted him extremely. The instant Tang San shouted, Dai Mu Bai was already charging forward. He of course knew what kind of opponent he was facing. The first spirit ability White Tiger Barrier, the third spirit ability White Tiger Vajra transformation exploded in a split second, and his whole body of white light abruptly turned golden, attacking with unstoppable momentum like a golden meteor. Zhu Zuking's launch was a little slower than Dai Mu Bai, her body transformed into a phantom, rounding behind Sword DouLuo's back, popping out sharp cat claws and charging forward close to the ground. Bai Chenxiang, who was also good at speed, could clearly sense that, in speed, Zhu Zuking was absolutely no slower than her, and even faster. Don't forget that Bai Chenxiang was pure speed system whereas Zhu Zuking was agility attack system. As an agility attack type spirit master, she possessed powerful attack power that Bai Chenxiang didn't have. At the same moment the two took action, 2 wings of Phoenix had unfolded behind Ma Hongzhen's back. Under the combined effect of Bathing Fire Phoenix and Phoenix Ascension, he pounced down from the sky, and every light around his body became twisted, obviously he was releasing his 4th spirit ability Phoenix Cry Sky Strike. Tang San raised his right arm, the 4th spirit ability Blue Silver Prison appeared around Sword DouLuo's body in 3 layers in succession, meanwhile, his right arm became entirely golden. The 5th spirit ability Blue Silver Overlord Spear was charging up. According to his calculation, the moment Dai Mu Bai and Sword DouLuo collided together, his Blue-Silver Overlord Spear would be ready to be released. Facing such a top-title DouLuo, they absolutely didn't dare hold back any strength. And the intangible pressure brought to them by Sword DouLuo was also the vital factor of forcing them to go all out. Ning Rongrong even spared no effort of her spirit power. Her distraction control had been cultivated to the 5 aperture scattered heart level, where she could simultaneously control 5 different amplification effects on different objects. The higher the rank of spirit masters of 7 treasures glazed tile clan was, the more spirit rings they had, the more formidable the amplification effect would be. When Ning Rongrong was amplifying with her full strength, even if it still wasn't equal to her father, the only difference was in the last rank. 9 treasures glazed pagodas was brilliantly colorful, line after line of light shimmered respectively, constantly infusing amplification into Shrek 5 Devil's body who were displaying their attacks. What fell on Zhu Zuking's body was agility amplification, attack amplification, and spirit power amplification, the 3 major amplifying abilities, with a formidable 70% effect. Even more lines of light fell on Dai Mu Bai, 4, respectively amplification of strength, defense, attack, and spirit power. Whereas what Ma Hongzhen bore was even more formidable. Ning Rongrong's 6 amplification all simultaneously fell on him. As the one who had the best explosive force, he was the true main assault force, especially with the effect of attribute amplification, which made his phoenix flame even hotter, golden red flame condensing, as if alive. Meanwhile the amplifications that fell on Tang San's body was mainly on attack, so there were only 2, spirit power amplification and attack amplification. Spirit masters over rank 60, with amplification on a variety of aspects by 70%, the strength they could erupt with, besides the factor of spirit avatar, each person was equivalent to a 7-ring spirit sage. Although they hadn't been together for years, the instant the fight started, everyone had already showed their extreme teamwork. Dai Mu Bai cut in directly and attacked the front side. Zhu Zuoqing struck suddenly from his back and mainly focused on the lower body. And Fatty fell from the sky. Further adding Tang San's blue-silver overlord spear and Ning Rongrong's instant powerful multiple attributes amplification, the explosive power they expressed now could make even a normal title DouLuo pale in shock, only able to dodge. However, who they were facing, was not normal title DouLuo. The instant Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuoqing's attack fell over on sword DouLuo's body, his right hand grasped the hilt of that 9-star 7-kill sword, and the instant he grasped the sword, what he felt most deeply was the distance of Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuoqing who were very close to him. At that moment, Chen Xin seemed already not to be merely a person, but a hurricane, with momentum beyond description suddenly exploding out from his body. Dai Mubai who bore the brunt just felt as if he was hit by an extremely sharp and huge force, even the amplification of Death God Domain, Blue Silver Domain and Ning Rongrong's 9 Treasures glazed title was not enough to endure it. The originally already released spirit ability was actually interrupted by sheer force. Just the frontal formidable momentum actually made Dai Mubai stop abruptly in his charge. It wasn't that he wanted to stop, but that under the momentum like a violent storm, he had to stop. Amidst a deep hum, there was already a trickle of blood spilling out of Dai Mubai's mouth. Tumbling back for several paces out of control, even the multiple amplification on his body couldn't help support himself. The imposing manner of the sword DouLuo was like a huge sword filled with essence hitting his body fiercely. Zhu Zuoqing felt equally unwell. She was the closest to sword DouLuo's body, so even though she wasn't suffering the frontal momentum, the instant her claw swung out, she just felt as if covered by countless sharp blades. Fierce pain came from every place of her body, and she subconsciously sprang back. The instant Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuoqing were held back, Ma Hongjun had already dropped from the sky. Scorching hot phoenix flame turned his fat and big body into a meteor and smashed down. Twisting light immediately covered sword DouLuo, his right fist punched to the ground with all his strength. The 4th spirit ability, Phoenix Cry Sky Strike, was released. The momentum that erupted the instant sword DouLuo grasped 7-kill sword simultaneously repelled Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuoqing, was also the moment for him to withdraw his imposing manner, and that's the reason why Ma Hongjun still attacked him rather than stop and retreat. And when Ma Hongjun's body landed, with right fist punching to the ground, an illusory golden light had already reached sword DouLuo, exactly Tang San's blue-silver overlord spear. The timing Tang San chose to release the spirit ability was just right. If a little bit earlier, then it would penetrate Ma Hongjun's body, while if a little bit later, then the 7-kill sword in sword DouLuo's hand would chop down, leaving no opportunity for Ma Hongjun's attack. If it was a real fight, with sword DouLuo's strength, he would be killed easily without doubt. When Tang San's blue-silver overlord spear arrived, it was exactly the moment sword DouLuo's 7-kill sword was raising across, and the moment Ma Hongjun released his Phoenix Cry Sky Strike. This area was the big forest in the backyard of the Shrek Academy, which teemed with blue-silver grass, and the more blue-silver grasses there was, the more powerful Tang San's blue-silver domain would be in its amplification effect. Under the amplification of the 9 treasures glazed tile pagoda and his own blue-silver domain, the blue-silver overlord spear released by him had already reached an unprecedented effect, where even with strength like sword DouLuo, he couldn't ignore such a piercing attack. Everyone just felt sword DouLuo's wrist move a little, and then the 7-kill sword lit up, without any spirit ability, just pointing the sword forward lightly, the clear blue blade had already blocked the way of blue-silver overlord spear. Wang, the trembling hum even made Grandmaster and Bai Chenxiang far from here step back a pace. A strange scene appeared. The powerful blue-silver overlord spear had actually been cut into 2 pieces by the sword, and transformed into 2 lines of golden light sliding past either side of sword DouLuo's body. Drawn by the momentum, Tang San's whole body tumbled forward for a pace, and the radiance around him dimmed somewhat immediately. But at the same moment, sword DouLuo's body finally halted for a split second, and Ma Hongjun's Phoenix Cry Sky Strike follow-up restraining effect revealed itself. Facing the full strength burst out by Shrek 7 Devils, even with sword DouLuo's strength, it was still impossible to completely dodge their attack without using powerful spirit abilities. Of course, this was also significantly related to the handling of time by Tang San. Hong, an intense white light suddenly burst from Dai Mubai's body. The 4th spirit ability White Tiger Meteor Shower blossomed. Releasing it right as Fatty's Phoenix Cry Sky Strike transformed into forceful flame pillar and rising to the sky, forming a 2-pronged attack, was originally one of the most adept attack methods of Shrek 7 Devils back then. And at this moment a strand of blue-silver emperor charged over next to Ma Hongjun's body despite scorching hot phoenix flame and twisted around his thick waist. Amidst a huge explosion, the powerful Phoenix Flame and White Tiger Meteor shower attacked from both sides and completely concentrated on a single point. The next moment, Ma Hongzhen's body had already been immediately pulled back by Tang San, with Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuqing moving backward simultaneously. The firelight suddenly faded, and everyone found in alarm that Sword DouLuo Chen Xin, who was originally bathed in the two powerful attacks of spirit abilities under two major amplifications, had actually disappeared. What was left in his place was a huge 7-kill sword, 2 meters long and a half meter wide. The sword was just inserted into the ground, identical to the 7-kill sword in Chen Xin's hand before, just much bigger. It seemed that every attack before had made no difference to it. Just when Tang San was drawing Ma Hongzhen back, 6 lines of powerful sword lights in front of that giant sword in all wrote a big character of Kill 2, and each sword light was black. That was not Sword DouLuo's real spirit power color, but rather another dimension exposed as the sword lights cut open space. Ma Hongzhen just felt his clothes behind his back were soaked by sweat. If he was still at that place, the consequence might be him in pieces. If everyone could be said to be thinking that the fight was just to exchange pointers at first, then, they had now completely understood that, what Sword DouLuo Chen Xin had said was not fake. He really didn't plan to hold back. The suddenly rising pressure made the Shrek 7 devils feel unable to breathe, especially the Ma Hongzhen, who had been all but cut into pieces, whose little eyes showed extraordinarily grave light. Howl! Under the huge pressure, Dai Mubai gave a roar, separating his feet, and spreading his 2 arms aside his body, like a circle. The fur on his whole body grew crazily and the 5th spirit ring lit up. Round after round of intense golden light rose up from his feet, and after each rising golden circle, his aura would swell somewhat. Even the white tiger phantom behind his back rose had already become golden. Zhu Zuqing's voice came clearly, "This is Mubai's 5th spirit ability, White Tiger Devil God Transformation. It's as similar to White Tiger Vajra Transformation, and their boosts can stack." Before she had finished speaking, that huge sword in the ground had already left the ground and the huge blade swung up, with intense blue light chopping down abruptly. A huge blue light blade ran into Dai Mubai like an amazing rainbow directly. Undoubtedly, this giant sword was Sword DouLuo Chen Xin's spirit avatar. Although no one could understand why he could transform into sword from flesh, they knew that this sword, let alone them, probably couldn't be blocked even by a normal title DouLuo. "Mubai, continue." Tang San's calm voice came. The next moment, he was already in the air. Xiaowu's spirit bone ability, teleportation, was released. Next, Tang San's whole body had already been covered by golden light. Invincible golden body was released. A cracking sound which sounded like tearing of metal came from the sky. The amazing rainbow was blocked by Tang San's body by sheer force, but just at the same moment, a layer of hazy mirage surged up from the behind the Shrek 7 devils and immediately covered the whole battleground. Suddenly, everything became illusory and seemed like a hazy dreamland. Under the thick cover of the shining light, every one of Shrek 6 devils felt a kind of special mental feeling that everything before their eyes had become unreal, but they could still sense each other's location and Sword DouLuo's clearly. So where did the thick colorful light come from? It was exactly Ning Rongrong's 9 treasures glazed tile pagoda. Back then, Tang San gave the spirit bone from Xinian to Ning Rongrong, and she got this ability. The ability the Mirage Bone brought her was named Fantasy Space 3. After it blended with her 9 treasures glazed tile pagoda spirit, the effect of Fantasy Space had been much more powerful than what was used by Xinian. After all, 9 treasures glazed tile was the best auxiliary spirit in the world. The effect of Fantasy Space, under the control of the user, could bring companions improvement of spiritual force by 20%, and also set up a spiritual web which would make each other connect their minds, not likely to get lost in the mirage. But to enemies, it would produce hallucinatory effects that not only caused a false sense of direction, but also weakened the enemy's spiritual force continuously by the psychedelic effects. 1-7 kill. 2 kill. 3 Fantasy Space. It finishes at here. Subscribes, likes and comments. Maybe sometime we'll rest one day not uploading. Rest well guys.